Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's now 7 o'clock on the dot on this Friday evening. I'll be your host for this evening, Thaakir Dawood. I'll be standing in for Safaraz, who won't be with us tonight, even though we know he's going to be cheering on from home because we're going to be chatting all things sports. Yep, it's Friday night. It's big sport this weekend, Nedbank Cup final. Um, all to play for the return of the Premier League, return of La Liga. I mean, come on. What more could we ask for? Sport is back, finally something we can all start talking about. Then tonight, we're going to be profiling one of South Africa's, could possibly be, right now, one of South Africa's most decorated footballers, and he's definitely en route to being the most decorated alongside the likes of Dennis Onyango, Dane Clet, who is currently the most decorated South African footballer. And yeah, he goes by the name of Pieterse. He's recently just added a league title to his tally of trophies, and he looks to add to that tally tomorrow when he does add a Nedbank Cup trophy. Let's hope everything goes okay. We're going to be hearing all about that in just a bit. But first up, to give us a preview of what we can expect in all things football, we're going to be speaking to Pieterse, our very own football journalist, and she's going to give us a breakdown of everything you can expect in terms of football this weekend. Looks like she'll be joining us in just a bit. But yeah, the playoffs, PSL playoffs, it's everything. It's all to play for. We've got Black Leopards that's making moves. They've just gotten a 1-0 victory over Ajax Cape Town in the week, and that sets Ajax Cape Town back quite a bit, seeing that they were looking to qualify for the Absa Premiership, or in 2021 season. We had to find out what the name of the league would be. But yes, Ajax Cape Town, they have a setback currently. It's gonna be uphill from here as they're gonna do their best to qualify. But then what happens if TTM qualifies? Knowing that they do have Bidvest Wits, the franchise name, what do? Two teams in the PSL, will they sell status or will they not? It's going to be an interesting discussion, and let's hope that Pieterse can give us more insight into that.
Hello.
Good evening. Thank you so much once again for taking the time out of your day to have a chat to me about all things football.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys.
Exciting times. Sundowns win the league on the last day. I mean, that was amazing. But before we get to that, we've had some nail-biting football midweek. Ajax Cape Town just didn't have what it takes. They played phenomenal football. I'm not going to lie about that. They just couldn't convert their chances. What went wrong?
Like you said, if you don't convert your chances, you'll be punished. And when you are punished, you're going to lose a game. So I think their heads were not in the game. I think they were not fully in control of the game. And of course, Black Leopards took advantage of that. And if you're not gonna score your chances, of course, any team will punish you. And in these games, you need to make sure that you convert your chances, because it's like you're playing a cup final. You know, every game is very important, because this means whether you go to the PSL or you stay in the NFD.
Well, talking about that, staying in the NFD, TTM now will obviously have it all to play for. I mean, a victory for them could possibly throw this entire promotion relegation battle upside down. Ajax Cape Town, from what seemed to be a good season and them qualifying with ease to the Premiership, now sees them fighting to come back into the Premier League.
As it stands, TTM lost their first game. So as it stands, Ajax Cape Town still has got a chance to stay in the league. TTM would have to win their game, but I'm not too sure whether they've got the vigor to win the game, considering the fact that they're already in the PSL as it stands. But we'll have to see against their game with Black Leopards whether they are able to win that game, and see whether they are willing to sacrifice their current NFD status for Sekhukhune FC.
Yep. Then this weekend we take it across to the other side of the globe. We go into England. EPL returns. Liverpool champions. What can we expect? What do you look forward to? Liverpool up against the newcomers, Leeds, who have a amazing Premier League record. I mean, they had the likes of Lucas Radebe, South African footballer who is a legend in Leeds. We've got all
Yes, yes,
kinds of beverages named after him. There's
yes,
even a bus named after him. What a legend.
yes.
Leeds back
We
in the
know
Premier
that
League?
Leeds have honoured Lucas Radebe for his contribution to the club. We know that he was a captain before at Leeds. So I appreciate the fact that you have got an English team that is honouring a South African player in the manner that they have. They even have a booth in the stadium or in the club where they celebrate Lucas Radebe. I'm looking forward to their inclusion in the EPL. I think it's one of the exciting things that we're looking forward in this season. But what I think is that the clubs like Chelsea and Manchester United have all to play for. I think finishing off in the top four, they've got a challenge. They've shown us that they're capable. They've got young players that have introduced to their team. So I think it's not going to be as easy as it was in the last season. Liverpool would have to work hard to defend the league. So I'm looking forward to the exciting matchups that is going to be happening this season. I'm looking forward to what Manchester City is going to be doing this season, whether they're going to be playing the football that we know they're used to playing, and whether they are going to be challenging for the league. I'm also excited about Arsenal. I mean, the Arsenal, I think, have ended off the season and off on a high note. So I'm sure they're going to be looking forward to also fighting either for the top honors or fight for the league.
And talking about that, is there any players in specific that you're looking forward to watching this season? The introduction to the Premier League. We do know Liverpool have rumours of Thiago coming to Liverpool, and Chelsea have been quite busy in the transfer market, as well as Manchester United.
I don't know if I'm looking forward to specific individual players. What I'd like to see clubs giving more of the young players a chance this season. We know all of these big name players, but it's great when teams are sort of like rebuilding themselves and putting a vote of confidence on young players. We've seen what these young players are capable of doing. I mean, look at Manchester United, which has got a fairly young a team, but they were able to play good football, and they were able to get a top four finish in last season. So I'm looking forward to that, and I hope that with even the new players that are going to be coming in, the senior players or the regular players that we know that have played in other leagues, they will be bringing something fresh into the EPL, because we know that EPL is one of the most competitive leagues in the world. I don't know if there's any league like the EPL where you have such competition and where every player comes in and plays with their utmost best.
Talking about players playing with their utmost best, we do have probably a PSL legend to be. However, he's only 28 years old. Riyad Pieterse joins us tonight, and he's going to be telling us all about his experience about winning the league. He's got a Nedbank Cup final coming up tomorrow. Where do we start? Riyad, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thanks, guys. Hi, Palesa. Nice meeting you.
Hi, Riyad.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be as well.
Riyad, it's been a long season. You've had a COVID break you didn't regularly get, and it was almost like a pre-season within a season. And then coming back from that COVID break, Sundowns have just been unstoppable. I mean, your consistency is what won you the league this season. Riyad, what's the secret in the recipe?
I just think we obviously Chiefs dropping points helped us a lot. When they dropped, we either drew a game or we either won the game. So we had a lot of lifelines, I must be honest with you. That's obviously because Chiefs were, just before we came back, were like 9 points ahead of us. So look, one man's unlucky streak is another man's luck, so we're just happy that things fell in our favor, and we're happy about that, and we're excited to finish off on a high with winning the Nedbank Cup.
No, certainly. I know that Palesa has been waiting in anticipation for this interview. Palesa, I'm sure you have a range of questions to ask Riyad.
Congratulations, champ.
Thank
La
you so
Decima.
much. Yes,
how do you feel about that feat? I mean, La Decima. 10 league titles. You're about to go for a treble with the Nedbank Cup happening tomorrow. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about playing for such a successful team? And I've been saying that for me, this is one of the most successful teams in the new era, the new PSL era. How do you feel about that, being part of the champions?
No, I feel amazing, to be honest with you. It's like this is like a mini Bafana if you call it, you know. To be honest, we have an array of amazing players, you know, who fight each and every week to be in the next game and stuff like that, you know. So for me, it's honestly it's a privilege and such a blessing to be amongst these guys who are hungry for success. We have a coach who's a winner, who wants to win at all costs, you know, and that's important in our DNA to have that winning mentality. It's good as well to have it going abroad, going to play in CAF competitions as well. So it's important for us to have a good winning mentality. The feeling obviously is great, but we can't be satisfied. You mentioned that we're on the verge of winning a treble, so that to us is very important. You know, we want to finish on a high, enjoy our break, and then come back again and fight again.
No,
That's
definitely.
great. That's great. You mentioned something important. The CAF Champions League experience. I think that's probably what set you apart in this campaign because I don't think we actually thought that you'd actually come back in the manner that you have in the last game. I mean, you never led the league at any point this season, but to actually come back on the last day and to go all out the way you did, I think it's fantastic. And I think, as you mentioned, the CAF Champions League experience has played a major role, a significant role in shaping the kind of Sundowns that we see today. What are your prospects going forward in terms of the Champions League and individually as a player? How do you want to continue to contribute to the success of Sundowns?
So obviously, to do with CAF, obviously we're still waiting because of the COVID. We're still waiting to see and find out if it's gonna continue. If they're taking a break for the first few months until things obviously settle down. But we know that when we our first fixture, obviously wherever it is, we know that it's never the easiest. People always say the first three rounds before you get into group stages are the easiest, but you know you're
Mm.
facing opponents that you barely know anything of. So that's the challenge that we have to overcome.
Looks like we just had a break in signal there. We will be joined by Riyadh soon just to continue what he was saying. Palesa, it's quite interesting. I mean, we've got Riyadh back on the line now. Riyadh, sorry, we just lost you there for a second.
Sorry about that. As I was saying, yeah, no, the Champions League. People always think that the first three rounds are the easiest ones. Those are difficult ones because you're playing against opponents that you don't
Mm.
know much of, you know. And with me, to contribute my basically my goal for the next season is to compete, to push, to play more games and contribute and win more silverware. That would definitely be up there with the mini goals that I've set for myself.
Riyadh, in terms of goal setting, Sundowns have won almost everything there is to win. What do you guys do to keep yourselves motivated in order to go out next season and produce the same quality of football that you did the previous season or just better that?
Well, there's a lot of factors that come into that because firstly we have a team who at any given moment anyone is able to play, you know, and
Mm.
there's three or four solid players in each position, so you know that every game you have to produce and you have to perform because you know your position is on the line, so you have to um, put your hand up each and every week. So it's not easy, to be honest with you. It's difficult, but that's what champions are made of, you know. So the guys have really put in a real good shift. This just coming back from the COVID, because obviously it wasn't easy. Coming back to an environment where you playing week in week out every 4 or 3 days. it's tough, but the guys have really fought really hard, and I'm just happy to be part and parcel of this amazing achievement.
No,
That's great.
definitely.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm sorry, I lost connection in my network. I think there's a problem.
No, it's fine. You're back, Palesa. We glad to have you
Yes.
back. Go for it.
I wanted to, I mean, you talking about your individual contribution. I wanted to find out what are your prospects for this season in terms of your role as a goalkeeper, because I know the competition is very stiff in your club. Are you willing to continue with the club, or are you looking for another team at some point? Or yeah, maybe if you can tell me what are your prospects for this season as a goalkeeper.
So obviously now it's still a little bit difficult to talk about that because I'm obviously still contracted to Mamelodi Sundowns. I have a year left on my contract. Of course, I would love to be playing week in week out. So all depends on what the club says, what my agent thinks is the best idea or ideal for me. What's ideal for me to do in the coming season or in the near future. So just have to be patient and wait to hear the verdict of what's gonna happen.
All right. That's great, Riyadh. I wish you all the best for this season. You guys have done incredible stuff for South African football because you are representatives of this country. When you go out and play in CAF, when you go and play in the Super Cup, you're representing the country. So you have actually put our football on another stepping stone. And perhaps tomorrow you might have another history where you win the third title for the season. It will be a treble. So I'm wishing you all the best for this season and for the next coming season.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thanks, Palisa.
Some exciting times. Palesa, you mentioned there tomorrow it's going for glory once again. Riyadh, a day to the final. What is your preparation like? I mean, I'm sure it's every kid's dream out there to know how Riyadh Pieterse prepares for a massive Nedbank Cup final like tomorrow.
So obviously the preparations have been going really good. We've had a good week of training. Today was match day -1, which basically means the day before the game. We figure out how we're going to play. We do our research on the team we're about to play. We find out where their strengths and weaknesses are. So we have a video session before training. We had training this afternoon, obviously to find out where we can hurt them, and where we should be careful. So that's important. So basically now is just some downtime, just chill. We were actually playing FIFA not so long ago, just to take our minds off the pressure that's gonna happen tomorrow. So it's just about relaxing, feeling comfortable, knowing that there's a possibility of lifting another trophy tomorrow. So not too anxious, not starting the engine too soon as well.
Definitely, definitely some wise words there, Palesa, from a legend himself, a
Yes,
walking
yes,
legend.
definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, Riyadh, another Nedbank Cup trophy that's awaiting you. What's your when you're sitting on the bench? What is your contribution towards the team if you're not playing at that moment in time?
So obviously it's just to support the guys that are playing, give them your full support, they give them the confidence, because the stress levels are obviously high. Sundowns is a big team. We want to win every game. And the teams
Mhm.
that we're playing against also understand that this is not only because it's a Nedbank Cup final or but previous games. They understand that this is an opportunity to shine, and maybe the bigger teams might recognize me and my potential. So it's never
Mhm.
an easy game. So for us, we just know that we need to go guns blazing. Basically, give the same performance we gave in our last game against Black Leopards. So you know it's important for us to not take anything for granted, and not just automatically think it's gonna be a walk in the park, even though we've got such amazing group of guys, who are willing to fight for the team. So we can't, like I said, we can't take it for granted. We know that we have to produce quality football tomorrow. That's gonna get us the trophy.
And I think it's amazing that you mentioned that your role, obviously, and the rest of the team's role, because the team doesn't just consist of those 11 players out on the pitch and the bench. It consists of everybody that is there making that
Yeah.
contribution, whether it's on the pitch or off the pitch, but it all knows that it's to make towards one common goal, and that's getting the result on the pitch.
100%, 100%. That's the most important thing, you know. We fight together. We've been with each other for over 2 months. We haven't seen our family, so this will be an awesome way to end off the season. You know, celebrating and making sure that we cap it off with a trophy. It's not going to be easy, and no disrespect to Bloem Celtic, so we have
Yeah.
to be aware, and we know that we have a job to do, and we, like I said, we can't take it for granted.
Most definitely,
In
Riyadh. Let's Felisa go quickly. One
yeah,
last question before we do wrap
yes,
up.
yes. In fact, I wanted to ask you something earlier. You just mentioned that you've not been with your family for like 2 months. I wanted to actually ask you about how has it been during the lockdown as players preparing and having this game set mindset to say that when football resumes, this is your goal, this is what you want to achieve. How has it been able to adjust to this new norm that we currently see ourselves in?
It hasn't been easy, to be honest with you. It really hasn't. Obviously, not seeing your kids, your family, you know, your loved ones. You see all the news, or you see the news every day, the numbers going up or going down. It hasn't been easy, but we obviously had to adjust. We needed to do what needed to be done, you know. So just in order for us to finally finish the games, finish the season, make sure that we can wrap it up. So I'm just happy for that. But
Mm-hmm.
it hasn't been easy. I'm so glad we have technology. Really, we privileged and
Yeah,
blessed about that, because we are able to obviously speak to our kids and our families. It's not the same, but we still get that joy
Mm.
of getting to see their faces. You know. So yeah.
that's
No,
great.
perfect. Thank you so much for your time this evening, Riyadh Palesa. Thanks to you as well. It was certainly an insightful conversation we could have with you, Riyadh, about what it takes to be the best in South African football. We really appreciate it. Good luck for tomorrow. All the best. I know that Mamelodi is behind you. Majority of South Africa is behind you, and we're gonna be rooting for you guys taking that treble.
Thank you so much, Palesa. Very nice meeting you. Hope you guys have a
Thank you
good
so
evening.
much, my
Thanks for
brother.
having me as well. I really appreciate it, and I feel very privileged and blessed as well. So thank you guys.
It's a
Thank you. All
pleasure,
the
brother.
best. All the best for tomorrow. Well, that's what you heard from Riyadh Pieterse. Palesa, some insightful information we've been getting from him. I mean, it's quite tough. Imagine 3 months away from your family. You've got a young daughter, and it must be difficult. How do you cope?
You know what? And like listening to him speak like that, I understand why Mamelodi Sundowns went on to win the league on Saturday. It's because that kind of discipline is what distinguishes them from the rest of the teams. While other players were at home doing whatever they were doing during the lockdown, you have this group of players in one place, no contact, contact through technology with their families, but no physical contact with their families, concentrating on what they're there to do, to play football, to play good football, and to bring about the results. It's not easy. I can't imagine being separated from your family for such a long time. But I think those group of players are used to doing that. I mean, they have been playing in so many tournaments already, playing so many games more than any other team. It doesn't get easy, but to be champions, you have to sacrifice some things. And I'm sure their families understand this.
No, certainly. I mean, it's going to be a tough game tomorrow. Sundowns are going for a treble. Celtics looking to restore their pride, just to show why exactly they are a good and a renowned South African football team. What's your prediction on this one? It's going to be a tough one.
It is certainly going to be a tough one. And I say this because with every trouble and with every challenge that Bloemfontein Celtics has faced this season, they've risen above. They've been winning games. They've been playing good football. They've got Dumiso Mabena, who's leading them to at the front. He's playing some very good football. And I was listening to Coach Pieterse on Monday on Extra Time, lauding him and speaking about how talented the player is. So you have a re-energized a Bloemfontein Celtics that's willing to go all out for its supporters, that have supported them throughout the season and many seasons before. So it will not be an easy game, and I'm so weary of making predictions, because I got it wrong last week, thinking that Kaizer Chiefs will win the title, but I think Mamelodi Sundowns will win it, simply because they know what's at stake, and they know that they are almost there. I mean, getting a treble is a very, very, very big achievement for any team here in South Africa. So I will give it to them for just merely that, knowing how to win competitions, knowing how to win games. They've got that extra edge, and we've seen it with the season, coming from nowhere and on the last day having to clinch the PSL title.
They certainly do have that BMT, and it just showed. I'm not sure if our listeners and viewers out there have seen the graph put out by could have been VSL. It was making its rounds on Twitter yesterday, and it just showed that Kaizer Chiefs started on such a high, and Sundowns consistently won their games throughout the season. However, Chiefs' graph was going crazy, up and down, and that ultimately determined why they lost out on the league title, and it was just because of consistency. But now we've seen Sundowns got the league, they're going for another one, add another one to the tally before they go and have that long deserved break where they get to see their get to see their family. Exciting times. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too. But let's wrap it up for this evening, as that's all we can chat about for tonight.
Thank you so much, Thaakir. It's always, like I said, it's always a pleasure to be called on Salam Media. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's game. It's starting at 8:00. It's probably going to be one for the books. Once again for Mamelodi Sundowns, of course, and another one, if it happens, in the bag for Coach Pieterse Msimani. Listening to him the other day, like I said, I've always had a different perspective of him. But when I heard him speak about how it's not easy to actually get to this point that you are, and how he's humble about the success that he's gotten, I really had greater respect for him. So I wish both the teams best of luck. I think it would be great for the guys in Bloemfontein to win it, for everything that they've gone through. But we'll see. It's football. There is no therefore, and give football on Twitter.
No, definitely. Thank you once again for your time this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our sport analyst, or could we say PSL local football specialist, Palesa, making time out of the day to speak to us about all things football, what we can expect in the Nedbank Cup. Riyad Pieterse joined us earlier. For those who just tuned in right now, the videos would be available on our Facebook platform, and you can certainly watch it there if you want to catch up on the conversation that we had earlier. Up next, after the break, we'll be chatting to Irfan Kasim, who's going to be telling us about the business behind sport and everything there is to know on what it takes to run a successful business. By saying business, we mean athlete or administrator, because we do know that is a business on its own, not just the job being done on the field, but all the work behind the scenes, and how he has stepped into the market to make life much easier for footballers, rugby players, and all sporting professionals within South Africa. Right after this break.